Hello, hello. Yeah, mic's working. All good. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all ages, it's that time again. It's time for my monthly stream. Um, this one's going to be fun. We're looking at some Frank Gambale. And talking about life in general and all that good stuff. Or bad stuff, depending on how you look at it. I'm here to answer all of your questions, help you learn a few things, entertain you. Obviously, that's always the goal. Entertainment is the main goal, right? Microphone. There we go. Entertain you. Oh, why is my mic on autofocus? I hate that. Entertain you, and any other things that I can do. Tell you what's going on in my life, and yeah. So let's have some fun. Who's online? Anything you want to ask before I get started with work? I will give you the rundown of what's happening with me. Yeah. So, look at the fucking state of me. I keep, hang on, when did I post this? Yeah, Lucas Man. So, what was I going to say? Yeah, so obviously I've been building my home studio for the last, 3 months, and I'm almost done. So almost done. Had a lot of comments on the last couple of videos saying, Jesus, man, finish the painting in that room. In here, in my fucking dining room? That's just a painted wall that obviously is there just because I didn't want a floral background behind me in the temporary time that I was going to be in here. I still hate filming videos in here. I hate the way they look, and I don't want those to be representative of what I'm about. So half of me has not been making videos because I don't want to film in here. Half of me has not been making videos because I've been devoting myself to developing the studio, sorting the studio out. And now there's an additional thing that started to creep in. And that's just the exhaustion and the social media frustration of how much time it sucks up. And obviously, I put up a video this week talking about the fakers, the guitar fakers, because y'all know I'm a big fan. So I made that video, and that one, I'm not going to say blew up. It didn't get like Jack Gardner levels of views, but it brought in a lot of attention. And one of my, I'm going to say, best and worst qualities is that I love engaging with anyone from any walk of life. Doesn't matter who you are. And that's why YouTube works for me, because I love being able to engage with my audience. I love being able to do a live stream like this and actually see your comments, respond to you, and treat you like friends of mine. And that video was too much. That video was just too much. I couldn't keep up with how many comments I was getting. And that, it applies to both supportive comments and negative comments. It's hard work having to deal with all of it. And it's funny because when you look at someone like Jared Dines or Stevie T, who I've obviously taken pot shots at before in the past, guys like that who get considerably more views than I get and infinitely more comments than I get on things, they don't deal with the same thing because they've learned to just walk away, put a video up, and then let people deal with the video, let people get on with it. I still suck at that. So if a video is very popular, I absolutely want to engage with as many people as humanly possible. And in the last 3 days, I've put 4 videos up, and comments, there's been over 1,000 comments on various YouTube videos and also my Facebook page. And it's just sucking the time out of me, and it's sucking the life out of me. I'm not well. I'm not mentally well right now. You can always tell. I'll get in closer. You can tell when Levi isn't well because the beard just gets ridiculous, and I stop even bothering to shave here, so I get hair all the way up here. That's Levi not looking after himself. My hair gets scruffy, and I go into a bout of depression. So it's not been the best few days, and I know what I need to do. For the first time ever, I need to say, you know what? Let's look after me for a while. Let's take a break from social media and see how that feels. I imagine I'm initially going to be very anxious about that, having to, not respond to comments, not constantly check if anyone's asked me anything or if I can help someone with something. I'll still be active for my patrons, of course, but that won't be, like Facebook heavy. So, yeah, just taking a break, taking a walk away. And, I'll probably make some videos on the subject when I come back and let you know what I learned from. It's not like I'm going out into the wilderness for 40 days and 40 nights. It'll be a few days. But that's important, right? Just baby steps to do that. So, because otherwise, I mean, look at this. It's funny, you see, this is, correlation and causation aren't the same thing. Correlation does not equal causation. That's important to remember that. I'm going to sort my camera out because I hate that autofocus. I fucking hate it. Correlation does not equate to causation. There we go. But it's funny, like every single person that I know that works in the field of creating online content, and even people that I don't know personally, you see the same struggles coming up again. It's incredible how prevalent things like depression and anxiety are among people that do these types of things. So I'm not suggesting it's a causation. I'm not saying it's because we make videos that our mental health is shattered. Could be a case of people that are more inclined to go down paths like that, mental paths like that, are more inclined to want to make videos about things. But yeah, it's just astonishingly hard at times, and I want a break from it. So yeah. Let's take a look at some of these comments. Let's see what's happening. So, great Lucas Man video today. That was the one that really broke me because I had so many people. It got to the point where I was just getting abuse on the video. And it's like, well, I'm very much against deleting comments on videos. I don't like deleting comments on videos because of that engagement thing. I want people to be able to engage on posts, right? I want people to be able to comment and read comments and read replies and, talk with each other and talk with me. But that one, I was like, well, am I going to go through this and delete, every 10 minutes, am I going to delete 5 people calling me an asshole? Like, because that's not contributing to the dialogue. I don't want to delete the comments, but also when you visit the video, I don't want you to go to the comments and just see most of it as people calling me an asshole, right? I mean, clearly I don't delete video comments, or you look at my Stevie T video and, there'd be no comments on it. So shut up, let's talk. Laughing his ass off. Love most of the chat is going to talk about Lucas. Hopefully not. Because I've got so much more that I can tell you, so much more that I can teach you than about Lucas's playing. Danielle, me too. Curious about Gambale Transcription. Yeah, really looking forward to doing this Gambale thing. Charles Caswell is hoping and praying he's not next on the list. I don't have the energy to. And more importantly, the thing with Charles, I might be changing my opinion on him a little bit. I've always been very much of the opinion that if you are going to misrepresent yourself in your videos, it's only misrepresentation when you're giving somebody the impression that that you have something that you don't really have, or that you are something that you are really not. So if you're making music videos and shit, that's cool. And to me, that's always what Charles has done. But I've had a few people in the last couple of days talk about lessons with Charles and him letting them down for lessons and things. And then I go, well, no, hang on a minute. Actually, if you represent yourself as the pinnacle of what guitar is capable of technically, what comes with that is an influx of students, right? And I would make the argument that those students are being misled into lessons. And I'm not crazy on that as a concept, so I don't want to call him dishonest or anything. But when people go to him for lessons, he knows what they want. He knows why they're going to him, and he doesn't say, "Well, cards on the table." You could have lessons with him every single day for 100 years, and you're never going to be able to sound like he does in the videos because it's not just the guitar playing that makes him sound like that. So, yeah, we'll see. Zenon52, how's it going? Shut up, let's talk. Thank you so much. Super chat. The truth needs to be heard, or the truth needs to be beard. But yeah, I'll take a break. It's only going to be a couple of days. Sean, I could really do with an actual vacation. But we've not had the money. Just financially crippled sorting this studio out. Like my poor wife deserves an actual holiday, and we had to cancel. We were due to go to the States a couple of months ago. We'd booked it for like a year in advance, and we were going to be over there for 3 weeks, but we had to cancel it when we bought this house to make sure we had enough money to deal with things in the house. Call more names. Which Gambale song am I transcribing? Can I do Leave Ozone Alone? Is that Yassine Akbar? I'm doing, there's a sweet picking medley that he has on YouTube. I'm going to be doing that. So there's a bit of everything in there. There's lots of stuff. Take a break if I need it. Struggling with depression for 20 years. Yeah, it's terrible, man. It is terrible. Runs in my family. My dad has, been crippled with it for his entire life. My sister has her own share of mental health problems, depression, anxiety, bipolar. I prefer to not engage. I prefer to not pretend that I don't have an issue, but it's something that I absolutely, if possible, would like to avoid having to medicate for. So yeah, looking after yourself, that's important. Instrumental case, how's it going? And Dadgad, you trans Sean Lane. Now I'm not sure if you are asking there if I am a trans Sean Lane. Of course not. You're asking if I've transcribed any Sean Lane. Yeah, tons of Sean Lane over the years. Somebody that I don't really take work on for anymore because I hate how long it takes for me to do it versus how much I charge people to do it. It doesn't make enough. So as soon as you start making videos, you start feeling some commitment to people that you make videos for. You feel commitment to yourself also to start looking for the fame. I don't know about the fame. The fame's not really that important to me, in all honesty. I've said this thing time and time again. If I was making YouTube videos and I only had 5 people that watched them, and you said to me that you are only ever going to have 5 people that watch your videos, I would still keep making those videos for those 5 people, because it's incredible to me that five people want to actually sit and watch what you have to say. That's incredible. That's awesome. And I think it would be insulting to those 5 people, or even one person, if you were to ever turn around and say, yeah, but it's just not enough. I need more. I don't need more. Currently, we've got like 50. There's 50 people online watching me now. If it dropped down to 1, I'm still going to be here. I'm still absolutely going to be here because I love, letting you all know that every single one of you is important to me. So it's less about chasing the fame, but yeah, here's the first part I really agree with. It's about making a commitment to the people that you make videos for. And I do absolutely make a commitment to those people. Which sometimes can be stressful, can add a lot of pressure, but oh well. Generally speaking, anyone that knows me personally will tell you I'm an absolute workaholic. I am an absolute fucking workaholic. I work for at least 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I say work, social media marketing, if you want to call it that as well. That takes up a lot of time, but I'm transcribing, I'm planning video content, I'm writing books, I'm teaching students, I'm dealing with patrons, I'm constantly fucking on. And when I'm not doing things that I'm being paid for, I'm constantly sort of donating my time, if you like, to help people that have questions with things. No matter who you are, if you reach out to me and you have a question about anything and I can help you, I am always going to respond to you, and we're going to always try and help you in any way, shape or form. Even yesterday I had a guy, but I couldn't give him the help that he wanted. I had a guy reach out to me talking about looking for a guitar endorsement. So he's got a string endorsement, and he's got an amp endorsement, and he's gigging, and he's going and doing some tours, and he really needs some help to find a guitar endorsement, and can I help? And I can help him, yeah, but not in the way he wants. I can help him and ask the question, which is, why do you need that to go and tour? Surely you have guitars that you like. Play those. If the company that makes them likes what you're doing, they'll endorse you. If they don't, then it doesn't matter, because you're still playing the thing that you like. That should be all that matters. Now, really, I could have just read his very long comment, very long message to me, and just ignored it. But I want to help people where possible. So I love dealing with people. I love helping people. Pretty damn good decision. Argument. Hang on. Let me see. Okay, let me read this closely. FNTM. I think this is a pretty damn good decision. So the argument is that not saying my videos are edited means that you present yourself as an incredible musician. No, I don't think so. Of course, there's absolutely a lot of individual interpretation, shall we say, that goes into when you watch anything. There are some things, like a Rick Graham video. Rick doesn't need to tell you this was live one take for you to know it was live one take, right? You just know that. Common sense, right? Whereas if you watch, I don't know, Joe Satriani's music video for Summer Song, right? When you watch that, you don't go, do you think he actually recorded that standing on a racetrack? There's interpretation. We look at this and we know. The problem is a little bit more when the line becomes a little bit blurred, and then you have to ask yourself, well, why has that line been blurred? People like, Charles, he will adamantly deny that that's the case. He will do everything in his power to avoid doing the thing that people ask, which is, hey man, why don't you just play that solo with a metronome click? Just you and a metronome. That'd be cool. I'd love to see that. I think that'd be awesome. Not because I doubt him. Obviously I doubt him. But that's not why I want to hear it. It'd be just very cool to hear and look at his technique in isolation. So, yeah. Oh, hang on. I lost it. Where'd the comment go? Yeah. So it's certainly... discussion. I see, yeah. Pretty damn good discussion. So, yeah, there's a lot of personal interpretation. And the thing for me, in my personal interpretation, that is important is looking at the motivation behind why someone presents their videos in a given way. If there is financial gain, if there's something that you can gain from people being under the impression of something, then you look at that and you go, well, maybe that's a little bit of a shitty thing to do. If there's absolutely no financial benefit for it, like I was sent a couple of videos today of some guy, I forget his name, like he's a Kiesel guitar player, and I think someone said something about him being on Jam Track Central, and it was a playthrough video of one of his songs, and I looked at it and I'm like, well, I don't see the problem taking issue with this. Like, the way I see this is, I don't think for a second that he's playing that recording. It's clearly the album track. But at the same time, he wanted to make something that you could look at while you were listening to the music, and also there was nothing in there that I heard that went, wow, how the hell does he play that? You know what I mean? Like, everything in there was totally achievable. It was totally doable, high level stuff, but not like, impossible. So I didn't look at that and go, well, I feel that I've been misled here, and I didn't feel that he was trying to sell me any product. I felt that there was just literally like a polished music video to go with a composition that he'd done, and I didn't take much wrong with that. But like I say, again, reiterate, it's personal interpretation. I'm not right, I'm not wrong. I can only give you my personal interpretation on things, my opinion on these things. The only place where I'm right or I'm wrong is when I look at something like the Manuel Gardner-Fernandez video, and I look at that and I say, well, this is mimed, and let me demonstrate how I can show you that it's mimed. But then once that's done, you have to stop making further assumptions about what I'm saying to you, what I'm trying to tell you, because I'm not trying to tell you anything beyond this is mimed, right? I don't make the distinction after that of telling you that this is wrong, that you shouldn't do that. I'm not telling you that this is mimed, therefore everything he's done is mimed. I'm not telling you that this is mimed, therefore, we've got proof that he speeds things up, or there are too many conspiracy theorists around around stuff like this, whereby like they've commented and said, yeah, but have you seen the live videos that he's just posted? And I'm like, yeah, I have. So, like, what does that say about the video that I'm talking about? Like, I'm not disputing that the guy's a great player. He is a great player. He's a great player. He's an incredible player. That's not up for discussion, right? No, well, I guess that actually is, because that's people's opinions. But as far as I'm concerned, he's an excellent player. He's a very creative player. And yeah, he said in his own Instagram post that, okay, he does edit his videos. He does mime them because he wants to give them that extra 2% of polish. Now, this is where we disagree, because I don't think it's 2% polish that you're giving them. I think it's at least 10% polish that you're giving them. But, that's open to interpretation. But yeah, the point is, don't go beyond the pale. Don't go beyond what is actually being talked about. I'm simply looking at one video and saying this is mimed. I could show you another video of his and say this isn't mimed. But that's not like, there's no paradox there. It's not like those two things can't coexist. It's possible to mime and also not mime, right? I can drive a car. Just because I can drive a car, if you see me somewhere, it doesn't mean that I drove to get there. Simple. It's simple to me. Like, all this stuff makes sense in my mind. But what do I know? I suffer from mental health problems. Let's keep reading these comments. Oh, there's lots of comments. I like comments. So I've made it a rule to not respond to any comments on the exposed vids I make because I know there's going to be negativity on them. Wouldn't be able to do them without doing that. So that's a great approach, KDH. It really is. But I want to respond to people that aren't being assholes. I want to respond to people that are asking genuine questions. But I can get caught up in engaging with people. And the other thing, right, I have often said that I honestly feel the best thing about my YouTube channel is not my videos, it's the comment sections in my videos. Because when someone is an asshole to me, I will be such an asshole back to them because they have demonstrated that they don't care about discourse. They're not interested in, giving me respect. And therefore, I don't feel the need to give them respect in return. So if you throw shit at me in my YouTube comment section, boy, are you going to get shit thrown back at you. And sometimes I see comments that I've responded to people from like years ago, and I just laugh and go, I wish more people saw that. So if someone sends me a genuinely shitty comment, like, well, I don't know. I did my hate mail video, actually. You get the idea. You get what I'm getting at. I'm going to move on. Take a break, seriously. I know what you're feeling. Struggle too. It's human. Come to Italy on holiday. I fucking would love to be in Italy right now. I love Italy so much. Shut up, let's talk. Big smiles. Medication isn't the answer. Yeah, I don't want to do it. I know too many people that changes, and I don't want to change. I like who I am. Do I rate Gambale's instructional DVDs? That's such a great question. So now's actually a great time to talk about this because it's Black Friday. Frank Gambale has his own tuition website, and there are Black Friday sales. If you're wanting to learn Frank's stuff, I would encourage you to go to his website and buy his courses, his new courses. They're a little bit more expensive than the DVDs, but they are considerably better quality. I know this because I contributed the transcriptions to a lot of them, okay? So I don't get paid for you buying the courses, but they are courses that I worked on, and therefore I do know the ins and outs of the courses very well. They are very good. So I would give that praise. There's definitely value in the DVDs, the old How Leonard? REH? Were they REH? Yeah, Warner. They're Warner videos. Warner videos, I'm sure. Alfred, I don't fucking know. Modes No More Mystery, Monster Licks and Speed Picking, and Chop Builder. I'm not crazy on Chop Builder. I think it's a nice concept, but it's a little bit irresponsible because he implies that you should do this video 2 or 3 times a week, like any workout video. And if you were to actually do that, you would give yourself serious playing injuries because, I would challenge just about anyone to go through Chop Builder, just the alternate picking section, right, and make it from the start to the end, right? He plays with 2 guys. There are 2 guys behind him because it's like a workout video. One of the guys' name is Dave Hill, I'm sure. I used to know this. I looked into this. And there are times during that where they literally stop because they can't keep up, right? That stuff is really hard. And to encourage you to do it multiple times, a little bit irresponsible. But I do like the idea. Speed licks and monster licks and speed picking, it's cool. But Modes No More Mystery is kind of the one for me. It'll give you some nice ideas for modal chord progressions. But I don't think they are earth-shatteringly good compared to his courses that he has online. What do I charge per transcription? I charge per minute of audio, so £22 per minute of audio. Hello from Spain, Jeff, Juan. Spain, yeah, I love Spain too, actually. I love Europe. It's a lot sunnier than it is in Scotland. It's refreshing to hear a content creator seem so genuine about giving about shit at people that support. Okay, non-existent, let's do this. I love the people that support me, right? It's why I have a credits list for some of my supporters over on Patreon. These guys obviously support me on Patreon for $10 or more, but you can support me over there for as little as $1. And when I'm dealing with people over there, those people are family to me because they don't just support my work in terms of like enjoying it, but they contribute financially. As little as $1 makes you part of my fucking family. So I have my own private Facebook group that those people have access to, so I can engage with them at all times. And I love these people. I've made so many friends over the years, and some of them are patrons to this day, but some of them are people that I've just consider like some of my best friends in the world that I've all met online from them watching my content. Like I had people fly over from other countries to come to my 30th birthday party because I've got to know them over the years just from them commenting on my videos. When I look at this comment section now, I just see the same names coming up time and time again, and it is fun because I kind of get that feeling that I know some of you guys, and that's cool. Like I'm totally paying attention to all of that stuff. I think it would be terrible to ever get beyond that, to that point where your fans, or people that enjoy your content, should I say, just become statistics, numbers. Like, wouldn't want to be that. So have I checked out the YouTube legend Alex 5000? I haven't. I don't know who that is, Steve. Sorry. Brew Soothe. Hey, Levi. Hope you didn't misconstrue my comment on the Lucas Man video as negative. I'm not I'm not sure which comment was yours, because obviously the video got a hell of a lot of comments. I just didn't have the energy. So no, I'm good. Do I have any advice for instructional books about Caged? Yeah, I do actually. Check out one of my books on Amazon. If you're looking at getting better at like caged concepts, I would probably recommend country guitar soloing techniques. You'll get a lot of this in 100 country licks for guitar, or country guitar for beginners, or potentially the country guitar method compilation. That's a compilation of the country guitar for beginners, country licks, and country soloing techniques. Obviously, I talk a lot about caged in there. Outside of that, I know like nobody wants someone to promote their own products, right? I do appreciate that. I never read books on the caged system or anything like that, so I don't have good recommendations for stuff like that. And any of you guys that are students of mine, a lot of you guys are probably students of mine or have had lessons with me, you'll know that actually I have my own system that isn't really strictly caged. I call it undeniable neck geometry. Nice and arrogant, right? Yeah, so my system of kind of explaining caged and thinking caged more came from my exploration of the fretboard rather than learning something that I read in a book. So Bradley Hall, hey Levi, great job on your recent vids. First found out about you from my Bumblefoot vid. Awesome. He's a personal hero of mine. Keep up the great work. Yeah, man, Ron is the best. And I tell you what, working out in my studio and doing all the DIY and the decorating and all that stuff, the amount of times when I'm out there with my Sonos sound system on and I'm like, I just need music to listen to. I don't know why, but I just keep coming back to Bumblefoot. I keep coming back to the Normal album, Normal, and maybe to a slightly lesser degree Abnormal. I really think that Normal is just one of the best and most underrated like rock guitar albums, but also from a songwriting perspective, it's just full of songs. It's full of actual great songs with great melodies, and hopefully this time next week I'll be able to say it's so nice to be normal, but it still feels kind of strange. So yeah. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. Umo, yeah. I'm just going to read the comment. Helping people to... Oh, look at that. We've got Rick motherfucking Beato online. I'm going to... Rick. Dude, I am so sorry. We have not spoken in literally a year now. Mental health has taken me out of the game for a bit. But we should catch up soon, man. I'll read your comment when I get there. Sorry. No, I'm going to jump straight to your comment. Have a great Black Friday, Levi. Buy Levi's books. Look at that, getting the shout of approval from Rick motherfucking Beato. That's rich. Rick Beato, the man that has wrote possibly the best best book for learning music theory on the market. I'm going to say this on record now, so people can come back to this if they ever want to. I will never release a book on music theory. I will never do it. Why? Rick's already done it. And you ain't going to top Rick's book. Rick's is the best. Rick's the best. Where were we? So Bumblefoot, yeah, very cool. Helping people to help themselves is the best help that you can give. Absolutely, yeah. I think also that's probably been a huge thing that's kind of been a kick in the arse when it comes to doing... because I've been doing the studio, I've not been to the gym in 2 months, and I hate that. I love going to the gym, and that is obviously great for hormones. So yeah, need to do that. Always give 100% at work, 20% on Monday, 20% on Tuesday. I like that. People don't like making videos of me because they take a long time. Yeah. Alex 5000 plays whole albums through in one take. Oh, okay, I see. Eat 'em and Smile, Appetite for Destruction. Oh man, I absolutely have to check this guy out. That sounds great. Mainly because you picked two awesome albums, Eat 'em and Smile and Appetite for Destruction. FNTM, I am a singer equivalent of the people who you call out. I get called out all the time. I see it as short music videos, production, harmonies, all of that. I still get called out daily. Yeah, that's a shame. I kind of want to be able to access your videos and check them out. But all right, so let's do this. So before Guitar Fakery became like a popular thing to talk about in the last couple of weeks, I have been literally writing about it, not YouTube videoing about it. I've been writing about this since before I was on YouTube. I've got articles on this subject going back 5 years. And 5 years ago, I was featuring the same damn people. It was the same damn people. The Theodore Zeros video is in there. Lucas Mann is in there. I've been writing about this for a very, very long time. Why am I telling you this? I'm reading your comments to see what's going on. Oh yeah, okay. So it's the FNTM. The longest time I've been writing about this as a concept. And when I was blogging like that, I also wrote a series of articles on stop listening with your eyes, because I think that's the most important thing that we all forget, right? We all listen to music because we fucking love music, right? Listen to music. We don't watch music, we listen to it. So obviously we live in, Video Killed the Radio Star, like everyone knows that song, and that was important because it was kind of right. Video did kill the radio star, but the video is always secondary to the audio. The video side of things, people expect it because people consume so much media on YouTube rather than just orally. They consume visually as well. They expect that visual representation to be there too. So when I put out my album like 5 years ago now, I shot playthrough videos of a bunch of the songs, but also I put some of them on my YouTube channel just with the album artwork, right? And shock horror, very few people want to watch the ones that have just the album artwork because it's not visually stimulating. So when you talk about doing stuff like that, the way I see that is visual stimulation. I'm cool with that. I didn't see the Dimitri Baker response to Charles Caswell. I should. Someone email that to me and I will check that out. Bradley Hall is here. Where? Oh, okay, yeah. All hail, sweet man. Okay, I missed something. That's interesting. There's a financial benefit for me. I don't do one-take videos because with singers, I guess that's probably the most interesting example that you can go with, because no singers track things as one long take. No, none of them do that. Why would you? You want to get the best out of a singer, and it's generally expected that you are going to be cutting takes together to get, the right performance. So I take no issue with that. Sup, Bradley. Dude, this is epic. Sweet. Frank Gambale. I'm genuinely looking forward to getting to this, frankly. I'm just trying to blitz through these comments. So, and there's Rick Beato in the house. So, seriously, so much love for Rick. I was supposed to do a collaboration with Rick, and it's been like a year, and I've not. Just been too damn busy. Rick's in the house, but obviously, like, I bought a new house, and then that gets out of the way. So, Rick. Ralph Macchio, the greatest. He is not too bad. His miming was pretty good. Now, of course, it's well documented that the reason for that is he was coached on scene by guys like Arlen Roth. And Arlen, of course, is one of the legends of, I was going to say country guitar education, but just education in general, because he was the owner of Hot Licks videos. So he put out a ton of great instructional videos. He's got his own instructional videos, but without guys like Arlen Roth, the world would probably have forgotten guys like Scotty Anderson. He obviously released a Hot Licks instructional video. I've obviously been a huge advocate of Scotty's work and have brought him back into sort of popularity when I posted that video on Facebook. It's got 2 million views now, which is astonishing. But yeah, without guys like Arlen Roth, Scotty probably would have faded away into nothingness. I'm not going to say Danny Gatton, but Danny Gatton. Like, sure, Danny, of course, has all of his music, but the Hot Licks videos, I feel, certainly took him to a wider audience. And there's tons of great Hot Licks videos like that, though. The Eric Johnson ones are awesome, and I'll tell you what, here's an underrated one, the Michael Lee Firkins Hot Licks video. That's a great video, so let's go with that. Can I tell us why I removed the Lucas Mann video? Yes, I just told you at the start of the video. Jack Butler don't mime. Jack Butler don't need to mime. Has anyone seen? I put a video up of the Ralph Macchio, the Crossroads guitar battle thing, where I just played all the slide guitar parts. Didn't mind that. The knuckle dragging mouth breathers, yeah. When you put a playthrough video of someone, that was never supposed to be treated as a live performance in a video with a thumbnail, fake shit, then you do give an opinion, and it's problematic. Okay, let me read this. I already can't take anything you're saying seriously because you've used the word problematic. When you put a playthrough video of someone that was never supposed to be treated as a live performance, I need to know which video which one? Which one are you making that claim of? And you'll need to provide... You have now not met your own burden of proof. Now you need to demonstrate to me that it was made clear that something was never treated as a live video. And I can be broad like this because I featured 4, maybe 5 people in that video. And you could try and make that same argument for every single one of them, couldn't you? And that's the problem. Because there's one of them that you like, and I can probably guess who it is, because there's one of them that you like, suddenly it's unfair. Fuck off. FNTM, I feel like I need to probably watch some of your content to give better feedback on that, and jump into your defense, because I feel that would be the best thing for me to do, to actually respond to people in your comments. I do not have perfect pitch. That's a great question. I do not have perfect pitch. I have very good relative pitch just from practice. Lots of Rick. Shout out from Rick in the chat. Yep, Rick's the man. Checking out Frank Gambale's Chop Builder. Yeah, so Chop Builder is great. It's very difficult. Do not do what he says and do it from start to finish multiple times a week. You will hurt yourself. But take it in sections. Yeah, well, Rick, I have to show those Patreon people because I couldn't do this without their help. So thank you very much, guys. You respect the videos you're doing. However, I would suggest that you check out the Theodore's Lick of the Week 98. Wow. In that video, he plays similar sweeps to the video you did yesterday. You can see that he is skilled. Again, you don't want to argue or fight. Just have respectful conversation. I agree with you. Let's be really clear about this. At no point have I suggested that Theodore Ziras is a terrible guitar player, right? At no point have I called him a fake, that he's not capable of playing the guitar. That's really, really important. You have to understand that. I plead with you, please try and listen to me here. I have not tried to say that. All I have said from day one about that is that video isn't being played. It is mimed, okay? And that's not up for discussion, right? I proved that. You can hear him literally play a D minor arpeggio, a D minor triad arpeggio, and you can see him playing physically a G minor arpeggio. That'd be my wife home, maybe. A G minor arpeggio, right? Those two things don't add up. 2 seconds. Yeah, you can see him playing a G minor arpeggio, right? So those two things, they don't add up. So when I point a video like that, it's not that I'm accusing him of speeding things up or being incapable of playing. I know he can play, right? All I'm saying is that in that particular video, he can't play that, right? And the evidence of that, aside from me demonstrating that it was mimed and then him saying that okay, fair enough, it's that in no follow-up video has he ever come close to sounding as good as he sounds in that video. Right? So if we know objectively that video was mimed and he's never sounded close to as good as that in any video since, then it would be fair to suggest that it's entirely possible that the content of that video was massaged to sound better than it actually is. So that's what I'm going to say. Undeniable neck geometry. Yeah, I love that. Any book or site that I would recommend for getting better at jazz guitar? I feel like I'm super lost in my playing right now and I don't know what to focus on. So I'll give you, it's Ricardo. I will give you a recommendation. Matt Warnock has a great website. Matt Warnock's website. That's MATTWARNOCK. That's a great resource for learning jazz, and it's all free. Then if you want to go a little bit further than that, you've of course got Jens Larsen, YouTube guy, great teacher. He has a book for fundamental changes as well. I loved his stuff, so check him out. And that gives you a lot of resources that you can pillage without having to spend a ton of money. So there you go. FNTM, that's tough, really based on opinion. Yeah, that's what I said. So what's upside down? Your name? I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, very good. Yep, all right, upside down. I'll remember that one. No, thank you, Rick. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the support. And if we can do a video together, I'm happy to. Did I ever try Bumblefoot's challenge of playing quarter notes at slow tempos? Yeah, man, tons of times. I used to practice that all the time when I was at university, because that's the thing that we thought was super challenging, like having your timing down so much that you could slow a metronome down to a stupid speed like that, and not fall out of time. And it is incredibly difficult. So Bumblefoot, his name keeps coming up, absolute musical genius. A music video is one thing, getting on stage and miming when people think you're actually playing an instrument is straight up tricky. Yeah, so I was sent a video today, I need to look into it a little bit more, and it was by a guy, a session guitar playing friend of mine, who had done some session work for a notable guitar player, and that guitar player is now, it's like a, how would I describe him? Somebody that, like a video game composer, let's go with that. So he's a video game composer, and this guy had done some session work for him, some guitar solos and bits like that. And now this video game composer is going out and gigging, some of his work that he's been playing for however many years, right? And he's actually using the recorded solo that my session guitar playing friend recorded for him, right? But he's miming along to it. And he's not doing a great job of miming along to it, but he's miming along to it. And I'm just demonstrating this stuff does happen, and is it unethical? I don't know. Did the audience pay expecting him to be able to do the stuff? Maybe, maybe not. It's hard to say, right? But I can certainly look at that and say, well, you know what? I can at least point out that this is a thing. I don't know why I went to that example rather than the example of that classic guy playing the nylon string guitar but playing an electric guitar solo on it. Indonesia in the house. Do I have ear training lessons on how I hear complicated chord voicings or any tips? Dickon, so Rick Beato, man. My actual ability to hear chord voicings is not as good as I want it to be. And yeah, my method for that is like I'll hear a chord voicing, and I kind of got this from Mike Stern. Mike Stern would talk about when he initially started transcribing, he would literally just have to transcribe the top notes of chords. He was transcribing Joe Pass stuff. He transcribed the top notes. And then with time, when you get really good at hearing the top notes, well, you get a lot better at hearing the bottom note. When you can hear the top note and the bottom note of a voicing, what you find, or at least what I found, is based on my experience of playing as music for as long as I have, I find that I'm reasonably good at hearing that bottom note, hearing that top note, and then sort of singing the arpeggio or singing the notes in between. I find that useful, but there's still still a lot of trial and error for me on that. When I put Zeras in a video called Fake Shit, okay, but that video was faked, yeah? Then you do make it seem as though he is a fake. Don't you understand? No, I don't. Clearly I don't understand that. Maybe there's a language barrier, but no. The video was a trailer/playthrough. Trailer for what? Trailer for what? I mean, Theodore Zeras commented on my Facebook page and said that he did record that one arpeggio at a time. Trailer for what? Was he trying to sell something? Was he trying to sell guitar lessons? Satriani doesn't cheat. When he can't play something, he brings out a chair. Yeah. Waiting on the musicians that I've called out to make an appearance. Yeah, well, they'll be here. Yes, upside down. See, every time this demonstrates it, right? I will never forget this moment. I will never forget that moment of, like, obviously I read your comments, I responded to you, I'm trying to work out how to say your damn name. You are now one of the family, right? Anytime I see your name, I will immediately remember that. You will never be forgotten. And yeah, hopefully I'll see you on future streams. That was cool. Thank you. Definitely laughed. Study intervals between notes in standard scales, a good point to start. Makes it easier to work out where you are relative to the key and part. Yeah, I'm all for that. Did I turn up to Corrigan's one night dressed as Sub-Zero from Mortal Kombat? I did turn up to Corrigan's one night dressed. It wasn't Sub-Zero from Mortal Kombat. It was just it was one of Andy McLaughlin's Rio. Was it Rio? Yeah, it was a Rio club night thing, and it was 80s. It was an 80s club night, fancy dress. And that was, I think, a month after I'd just moved up to Wishaw. So I was like, yeah, cool, I'm going to go down to that. I'm going to go all out. And I spent the money on, I got an actual, it's if you go on like, if you go on eBay and look for ninja costume, it'll be the first one when you see it was a red Sub-Zero ripoff. But yeah, that's a deep cut. Oh, yeah, I don't recommend that. Anyway, so I'm through all of the comments. Again, huge thank you to those few super chats. I'm not going anywhere, don't worry. I'm going to do my transcribing work now. So shut up, let's talk. Thank you very much for your super chat. Mr. Rick Beato, that makes me feel really good. Thank you very much for the super chat, bud. Let's talk soon. MMCC, because Rick's here and love the honesty, new patron. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoy the Facebook group. And Upside Down, which I'm still laughing about it. The question I have, I guess, with Upside Down is, do I read your name as Upside Down? Are you called Upside Down? Is that what you call yourself? Yeah, Andy McLaughlin and John Ray. They're wild. They're wild, all right. Anyway, okay. Let's do some stuff. Now, of course, if you want to throw me any comments while I'm doing this, I'm still reading all of this. Any comments that come in, I'll respond to them. Let's take a look at what I'm going to be transcribing today. So what I'm going to be transcribing is this Frank Gambale video. So it's a combination, or not combination, it's a collection of some of Frank's videos that were recorded for his old instructional site. Again, as a plug, he does have a new online website, which is frankgambaleguitarschool.com, I'm sure. Let me double check that. Yeah, Frank Gambale Guitar School. I would recommend check some of that out because obviously it's Frank. He's a great player, awesome player. Again, hands up, I did some of the transcriptions for the website, so I'm not speculating on how good the stuff is. I know a lot of the stuff is. I've seen a lot of the courses, so I know they're very good. Let's just briefly talk about Frank. I am a huge fan of Frank's approach to playing, though I'm not as big a fan of his music, and I think that's really fucking cool. I think it's cool that you can listen to people. Pat yourself on the back, Levi. I think it's cool that you can listen to people and not just focus in on one thing that they do and say, you know, this is it. I love the music. That's enough. I can listen to people say, well, I'm not crazy on the music, but I love some of his ideas. I love his approach to lines and things like that. So being able to look at people more broadly and saying, well, you know, what are the things I like, what are the things I don't like. So while I have never in my life learned any Frank Gambale songs from start to finish, or even sections of songs, I have learnt so many things that are so clearly Frank Gambale influence in terms of, you know, picking stuff. So yeah, let's do this then. So this is, as I say, this was the sweep picking medley. So what I'm actually going to do when I focus on this is I'm actually going to draw a lot of attention to the actual picking directions of things that he's doing, because I'm treating this as though a big part of what I do for my Patreon guys are these monthly transcription challenges. The guys go away and they transcribe some of it. In fact, I'm going to bring the Patreon thing up when I do this. The guys go away and transcribe things, and then they submit those transcriptions, and then I can give them feedback on their transcriptions via these video and private one-to-one feedback, etc., with the goal of helping them get better at providing transcriptions for people. it'd be one thing for me to be like, I'm going to be Mr. Transcriber, I do all the transcribing, but you'd be very busy if you did that. I am a lot more interested in finding talented young transcribers and helping them get onto the ladder, help them find work, help them polish up their abilities and things. So looking at someone like Frank like this is really cool, because for something like this, I can really go to each one of my patrons and say, look, not only are we transcribing the Frank stuff here, but we have to approach this in the same way that you would approach this if this was a commissioned job, right? And if you were doing something for a Frank Gambale sweep picking course, obviously one of the key details of that sweep picking course, probably the key detail of that sweep picking course, is the sweep picking, is the actual picking. So unlike many of my transcriptions that you may have seen me do in the past, when I'm doing these, I'm really heavily going to be focusing on putting in the picking notation, because that's important. That's a huge part of everything. How do you get all the rhythmic patterns right? I'm still learning to transcribe what I play. Very hard to get the rhythm, especially syncopated. Dick, and I'll answer that briefly for you. Now, for anyone that's watched my live streams before, you're probably familiar with this. It's like I've always talking about this, right? But transcription is simply the art of writing down the thing that you hear. Writing down the thing that you hear. So, in order for you to be able to do that, put pen to paper and write down something that you hear, you better sure as fucking hell be able to see something that's written down and hear what it's going to sound like. I don't mean hear it and press play on something. I mean literally be able to look at some music notation and be able to interpret that, right? Forget music for a second, just talk English language, right? If I look at, first thing that came to hand, some katana sleeves. If I look at that, it says katana on it, right? I don't look at this and say Katana and then try and process that. I see the word as a whole, right? And the reason I can read it so quickly, or standard size, or any, if I read the back of this, where's the English? There's no English. There's no English on there. Fantastic. German, French, Spanish and Italian. There's no English on there. Awesome. You've made a fool of me. If I read something in English, I see the words, I understand what they're going to sound like. If you asked me to listen to you speak and then write that thing down, I would have to have a good understanding of what it's going to look like written down before I actually do that. So when it comes to getting better at notating rhythms, what I always recommend is developing your reading skills. I'm not talking about sight reading skills. I'm not talking about being able to put a book in front of you and read it go. That's not what reading skills are. Your reading skills are the ability to take a piece of notation, something that's been notated, and over a period of time work it out, be able to decipher it, right? There are a bunch of great books for this. The two that I always recommend, though, are Melodic Rhythms for Guitar. That's a William Leavitt book. William Leavitt is the author. It's a Berkeley Press book. That's a very, very good book. And I also recommend the Gary Hess book, The Encyclopedia of Reading Rhythms. Have I got that one to hand? I don't have that one to hand. I know I did a study club on it for Patreon a couple of months back. Spend some time with those books. The better you get at reading rhythms, the better you are going to be at hearing rhythms and knowing what they're going to look like when they're written down. Anyway, onto the transcription. We've got a pretty decent amount of people watching tonight, which is kind of cool. So, for reference, I'm using Transcribe. This is the software in the top. I'll use this to mark out where the bars are in the audio that I'm transcribing, and I'll be using Guitar Pro to notate it. So, I'm going to move the mic out of the way and mark out the file. Probably gonna, that's more half time. Yeah, half time, fine. Okay, so there's something that we can talk about there. That'll do. Enough for us to look at there. I'm only really doing this one because it's rhythmically very simple. I'm going to get up to the part where he does the sweep picking. What Levi said about the deleted video, it's not deleted. The abuse that I was starting to get on the video was getting so damn much that I need to stop engaging with comments. I need to stop engaging with YouTube for a few days. I need to take a break from social media for 2 days, 3 days, because I'm letting it seep in and hurt my mental health, and it's not good. Right, so let's take a look. I'm doing this part up to the main sweep, and the reason why I'm doing that is because we're looking at sweeps. But I like this one because it's rhythmically relatively simple, and therefore I can talk about the rhythmic subdivisions. I'm really undecided on how whether I want this in. It's a case of, do you want to hear it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go for the second. It's just as valid. So 2, 3, 4. If we just look at that and we treat this as a bar, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, rhythmic, melodically, ba 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 da 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 da. It's just about placing where those notes fall in a bar, right? So I have to listen to this, and we can tell immediately the first one falls on beat 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. The second one, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 3 and 4 and 1 and... So the first note lasts for an eighth note. Let's write it down. Now we can see where he's playing. 8 even. Apparently I'm an idiot. Da, ba, ba, ba. Rhythmically interesting. Okay, so these are offbeat, but I need to not do that because that's throwing me. There we go. I understand now. Okay. Ba, ba, ba. And then these are syncopated. Ba, 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 da, da. Oh, what am I doing? Staccato. There we go. Now we're just holding that for the rest of the bar. He falls off it a little bit early, but it's not hugely important. We got a copy paste. And the only thing that really changes in the second part of this bar. Ba-da-da, ba-da-da. It's the last 3 16th notes of the bar. Da-da-da. It's just bar wise, like, what do you want to call it? We call this a bar of 5, maybe. Da-da-da. Yeah, call it bar of 5. Why not? Trust me to pick something that I said was rhythmically easy, and then immediately find out that it's got some odd bar lengths in it. Da-da-da. Back to 4. Shit. Let's go for that. Ba. That's as far as I'm wanting to go with this particular melody. Okay. Ba ba. Ba ba. Playing that ba ba ba. Da do da. Rhythmically ba do da. So I'm going to be liberal with the rhythm here. I'm going to put that in as a trill, starting with the second beat of the bar, third beat of the bar. No, I'm not. It's too not. Let's go with that. Why is that? Yeah, trills for... Let's write that in again. Oh, for some reason I got 6. Needs to be 5. Yeah. Now, here we go. That's the actual closest thing we get to an actual sweep, right? Rhythmically, da-ba do da-da, da-da do da-da, triple da-da, da-ga do da-da, da-ga do da-da. The tough part with this is where is 1. I'm just... Yeah, fine. So we're on the 3. New player if you... Oh, dude, just hang about, right? Wait till you see what Frank really is all about. Just give me a few, because I'm so close to having this gone. We'll get this done, and then yeah. I'm just wanting to go as far as that with this particular melody, because I want to do something that's a lot more technically challenging, right? So we got okay, so he's not playing it as a roll. Oh, whoops. There's our melody. Right, let's see more about this. Is especially for Sego Guitarist. Now we'll come back and do Robo-Roo. I just want to get some of his nut shredding. I fucking love this song. I fucking love that lick. You know what? I'm actually just going to get the actual video in question. The thing that made me decide to start doing all of this stuff, right? So, I'll scare the living crap out of you. This is what made me remember, man, I love Frank's playing. I will show you a lick that will make you just go, what the fuck was that? And while I'm doing that, Upside Down asks, God, I hate disturbing you while you work, but there's something zen about your process. Whenever you get a moment, how did you get into transcription initially? That's a real easy question. I got into transcription because I wanted to learn things that weren't in tab books. Everything that I wanted to learn wasn't in tab books. And initially what that meant is you couldn't learn it. I can't learn this stuff. I can't learn Linear Sphere or Symphony X or whatever it was. And then when Guthrie started to become popular in the sort of Essex and London scene, I mean, we'd known the name since very late 90s was when I first started to hear the name. I got passed around a cassette tape of his original demos. When I started to hear that stuff and this kind of fusion thing, like that was like cool to me. I really want to learn to do that type of thing. But there were no lessons on it, so I had to go and transcribe it. So I got serious about the transcription side of things, and then as I got better with it, I realised, oh, all that Joe Pass stuff that I wanted to learn to play, I can work that all out now. So that was helpful. Anyway, right, let me scare your pants off. That lick in particular. This, I put this on when I was looking for some cool Gambale things to transcribe, right? And this lick happened. Now, and I was just like, what the fuck is that? What was that? What is this? right? What is that? It's fucking ridiculous. And now you kind of see why I kind of have a frustration with stuff that I would call fake, right? And it's because there are guys out there like Frank that do stuff like that. And Frank's been doing stuff like that since, 83? I think his first album's 83. I could be totally wrong on that. 86. Okay, his first album's 86. Though he went from Australia over to LA, went to GIT. He was one of the first years, like the first graduates of GIT. And he's just been kicking ass since before the Shrapnel thing, right? He's been a killer influence, right? Played with Chick Corea. Was very notable for Chick Corea, but also the Vital Information with Steve Smith. Like he's a great player, and there's something like unhinged about his playing when he goes into that stuff, and no one does it like Frank. Nobody does it like Frank. If you go on YouTube right now and you look for Frank Gambale sweep picking style lesson, you'll see people playing sweep picking licks, but they're not the sweep picking licks that Frank plays. He does all these really cool things that just are so unique to him, and that's kind of why I want to transcribe his stuff, because I want to get in his head. But when you put Frank next to someone like Charles Caswell, there's such a dramatic difference between the two, and there's a reason for that. Frank doesn't polish his stuff in the same way. Frank is just putting his stuff out in the way it is, and he tours the world and does all his music and stuff like that, but he does have educational stuff, and you want to learn educational stuff. I talked about Rick's book earlier, saying it's the best book. If you want video education, Frank's Harmony and Theory course is fantastic. And he's real deal, real fucking deal. And actually, that's the magic of it. Like, it's kind of not miming. It's sketchy in places. He's definitely making mistakes all over the place. Not mistakes, but little flubs and things. It's not crystal clean, perfect. That's what happens when you have a live take, though. This is live and fucking improvised. Like, what did I miss? Tabs for Buckethead, Paul Gilbert, Engve. Yeah, other traders are pretty accurate. Since generally speaking, the only people that are even trying to transcribe the pros. Well. Yeah, so you make good points there. So when you talk about Buckethead, I wasn't really into Buckethead growing up, but I was super into Paul Gilbert. Like, many people still know me as Miss Mistreater. I used to be called Miss Mistreater on the Racer X forums for when I was a kid. That's where I hung out. A lot of guys were Petrucci forum guys, but I was a Racer X forum guy. And over on the Racer X forum, we had Mitch. Now, Mitch was a gentleman of my age. I've hung out with him a fair few times, and he's a good player. I don't think he plays anymore, but he was a transcriber. He was a tabber. He used to tab all of the Racer X stuff for people, and he was good at it. And I didn't have to do things because Mitch was doing them. But then when it came to learning things that weren't, the Racer X things, or the things that lots of people were transcribing, for example, the Guthrie Govan stuff, where do you go for stuff like that? The tabs weren't out there, so I had to make them. That's actually how I got my start in the industry. I transcribed almost all of the Erotic Cakes album, and ended up putting them on Scribed for people to download for free. And it showed people, what I can do as a transcriber, and then, work started coming. So, yeah. Sweet Zombie Jesus, that is crazy. That's the point, right? It's loose, and it's free, and it's because it's he floats over the beat, and in his... he floats with rhythm, and it's just super cool. Anyway, so... let's transcribe some more of it. So let's do Robo-Roo. Right, so I'm just going to treat this as though it's 4. I probably wouldn't. I'd probably maybe do it in a different thing. But Rick Beato is about to go live with a fake guitar topic. Oh, is he? Oh. Rick, He's about to steal all my viewers. That bastard. Okay, cool. So 1, 1. Let's just go with that, just from an exercise perspective, right? So, hello, Cristiano. So you make an excellent point there about Guthrie and about Yngwie, right? So in my mind, there are two types of playing, right? There is on the grid playing, and then there is more free, loose, floating over the beat playing. Players tend to fall into one of those two categories. And growing up, I was really, really into rigid on the grid players, right? So Petrucci and like Paul Gilbert. Obviously, I was talking Paul Gilbert. Some of the more in-time Malmsteen things were they appealed to me. But when you look at someone like Malmsteen and you compare him to Michelangelo Beato, the difference between those two players, for me, if I had to describe it, aside from one being considerably better than the other, I also feel in the 12-8 too. I mean, 4-4, 12-8, it's 12-8 would be better because I won't have to use the triplets. Anyway, sorry, as I was saying, so one of those players is better to me, and the reason I would describe one of those players as better to me is because to me, Beato kind of sounds like somebody that's doing the Malmsteen thing, but everything is in time. Rigidly in time, and some people are really drawn to that sound, whereas when you listen to Malmsteen, he doesn't do that. He floats over the beat. So Malmsteen starts at point A, he ends at point B, and everything else in the middle is cool, and it's that rush and that excitement of the floating over the beat that is super cool to me. And all of the players that I find that I'm drawn to the most are guys like that. So if you think of guys like Eddie Van Halen, like he floats over the beat when he does the wide stretch fast legato stuff, or Michael Romeo, like sure, he's definitely got sections where he plays very in time, but he can just absolutely rip and float over the time when he wants to, and I love that sound. When Frank plays fast, he absolutely does that. When Guthrie does that, he absolutely does that, and that's super cool to me, So the thing I kind of like about Greg Howe and Richie Kotzen. On the flip side, you have guys like Brett Garsed. Now, Brett Garsed, a lot of the time, his legato is very in time, but the parts that always made me go, oh, that was fucking cool, is when he's playing in time for a very long time. Angel Vivaldi, how's it going, man? He plays in time for a long period of time, and then he busts out of the playing in time and he accelerates, right? Now the beat doesn't change, the beat is still consistent, right? But he's gone from going and it's that mad accelerating feel that just grabs you and goes, oh, that was exciting, right? And the problem with stuff like that is it's impossible to mime unless you're very precise about what you're doing. So that's I'm drawn to that in players. So let's immediately jump onto Frank Gambale playing something that's very in time. But this would be good if you were looking to, you're wanting to transcribe. Tony McAlpine, he falls into both categories. This would be very good if you were looking to learn the technique, right? So, what up, Justin? How's it going, man? Big shout out to Justin, who just landed an endorsement with Ibanez Guitars. That's cool. I like so when you Siaga Guitarist, when you said Malmsteen has a fire and a vibrance to him, you're absolutely right. What I was expecting when I started reading that sentence was a fire and vibrato, because that's the point with me for Malmsteen. He's got such an outrageously good, passionate, wide, like screaming vibrato, and yeah, that's all part of that. Like that staying very in time thing isn't really my cup of tea. I'm going to see if Rick is actually online streaming, and I may log on and check him out and say hello. Is he broadcasting? Right. Okay. I'm going to stop him with Rick.
So there you go. That's.
Let's say hello to Rick.
That's just the case. I'm not saying that any of these fake guitar, that any of the people involved in this controversy are that's the case. But I just wanted to to point that out, that the frame rate does have something to do with it. I can't play fast enough to to make it look like the frames can't keep up. So, you know, I don't really have any personal experience with that. So there you go. That's that's as far as that's concerned. That is one angle on it that you need to look at it from. Now my dear friend Levi Clay showed a video of a guitar player yesterday. I can't remember who it was, and he did a slow motion of a thing. There's Levi right there. So Levi showed a video where there's a tapping thing, and there's obviously 2 tap notes, and obviously the guy's only tapping 1 note, and it was obviously a play along video or something that wasn't played along very well. Now, a lot of people do play along videos. They do. I can see them all the time. And that's been going on since the beginning of MTV. People that no. That's been going on since the beginning of television. There's a great play along video of Wes Montgomery wearing an orange. Unfortunately, it's just before he died.
Let's get back to work. How good was that for timing? I log on and Rick's talking about me. Oh, that's funny. Also, more importantly, guys, I just want to say, right, Rick Beato is currently streaming and 72 people are choosing to watch me instead of watching Rick Beato. That's incredible. Thank you very much. I wish I was watching Rick. Right, so let's do this. Right, so we're transcribing. We are transcribing what Frank is doing here, but there's a transition in the video, right? So we can't see what he's doing. So we have to rely on what? Our ears. Now this is much more important, right? Much more important, our ears. We can hear what he plays. Do, ba, 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 ba. So we need to find that note, right? Is he there? Ba, ba, ba. It's a fifth. He goes up a fifth. Ba, ba, ba. That's a typical. So there is a classic Frank Gambale sweep. Okay, then so there's our arpeggio. Comments. Jimmy Neutron and Timmy Turner cross paths. 2 favourites. Amazing. I love you guys. The best thing is when you go through some killer shred run and then throw people off with some floaty like licks. Hard to do that on improvisation. I wouldn't necessarily say it's hard to do. I would actually say it's probably easy to do on an improvisation. It's very easy to play out of time. Yeah. Oh, there's a C, okay. Oh, whoops. Yeah, man. Frank's the best. So we can hear what he's doing there, plain as day. And this is really getting to my method, right? And there's a lot of new people here watching, I'm sure. So I'll talk briefly about the method. You'll notice that when I'm doing this, a lot of the time I sing the part, and because I think that's a lot more important than like sort of. You notice I'm not using a guitar either. I don't use my guitar, find my guitar, play a note, and then check it against the recording. Right? You can try that. It will take you a very long time to do that and to do a great job of that. I think what's much, much, much more effective is being able to hear something and then process it, being able to hear something and understand it, memorize it, have that melody internalized. Then, when it comes to you looking for the note, making sure you're playing the right note, you're not having to check the recording, you're checking your internalized understanding of the melody. And when you do that, what you're constantly doing is you're constantly developing that ability to process musical information. You're exercising that musical muscle, if you like. You'll get stronger at it, you'll be better at it. Right. So we hear this, but I can't sing this low. Da, da. That's a comfortable pitch for me. Bo ba ba da, bo boom ba da da da. Bo ba bo ba da da, bo ba da da do do ba ba ba. I can process that. And it'll be, yeah. Andre Elizaga, I'm not sure. How do I include do I include the right hand technique when it depends on what I'm transcribing. For this, we are going to add it because this, okay, so I'll bring up the Patreon thing again. So if I'm presenting this from a perspective of how would I train my Patreon guys, how would I train those guys to transcribe, and how do I do what I do professionally? If I was doing a course like this for someone like Frank, what I would be doing is I would be doing it to brief. Now, this is the brief of this is absolutely doing it for a release, and the release would be a sweep picking course. So the picking direction would be very important for something like this. But of course, it's not always important. So generally speaking, I try not to have to include them. So many people learn riffs differently to each other because when you learn it by ear, you're not playing. You're playing it from the same mindset, just trying to nail the sounds accurately. Process is very difficult. I still need to sing, then check with a pitch. Yeah, like two people playing Whole Lot of Love next to each other probably wouldn't play it the same way. It's true, unless they both learn it from the same tab book, in which case they'll probably both make the same mistakes. Not checking the video, right? Da da da. That's what he plays here, right? Ba 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 da da. Da da da. Da 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 ba ba. Ba. Oh, is he okay? Ba ba ba. Yep. Ba da 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 da. This is very how would I describe it? Very Frank Zappa, right? Da 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 ba ba ba. Whoops. Ba 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 ba. What shortcuts do I use to enter notes in Guitar Pro? I use the number pad. Oh, okay, is there a jump there? Oh no. Ba da da. Ba ba. Ba ba ba. Ba 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 ba. Note, rest, note. Ba 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 ba. I'm going to put a rest there. Rick Beato is a hack fraud, is he? You fanny, you fanny. Ba 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 ba. Let me tell you a story about Rick. Actually, I don't know if that Kex Alf's Handy Legion is a okay, but evidently he's not trying. I'll tell you something about Rick Beato, right? So Rick Beato, I got to know Rick after Daryl Gable. For those of you familiar with Daryl's playing, he's freaking. He's like a perfect combination of Frank Gambale and Alan Holdsworth. He put me and Rick in touch when Rick was, I think he was looking for someone to tab something for him. It may have been the tabbing thing for him. No, that wasn't it. He wanted some advice on using Guitar Pro, right? So he had some questions about the software, and Daryl obviously suggested me because I know the software, right? So I helped Rick out with a couple of things in the software, and I did a couple of transcriptions for him. And then after then, Rick said he checked out my YouTube channel, and he was like, "Look, you don't have as many subscribers as you deserve, and I'm gonna take you under my wing. I'm gonna help you out." And he told me anytime he's live streaming, make sure I come online, say hello. He'll shout people over to my channel, etc. He talked about doing a collab video with me. I've just been too busy to make it actually happen. But here's the other thing about Rick, right? I have had hour-long plus conversations with the man on over the phone or on Skype, where he just sits and gives me advice on video titles and thumbnails, screenshots, things like that, tags and things like that. I've done nothing for the man, and all he's done in return is give. All he's done is try and help me, and that is a sign of like who Rick is. Sure, he charges a lot for his courses, but it's because he's very good. He is very good at what he does. And I think they're all justified. The prices. Rick could charge double that, and it would be worth it, because you would pay a lot more for private lessons, and learn less from someone less qualified. Rick is such a good person, as you saw today. Him coming on my stream and saying hello and sending me a super chat. That's cool. Anyway, let me carry on. Ba ba ba. Ba ba ba. That's an interesting. Ba ba. Ba 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 ba. He'd be playing it there, wouldn't he? Da. Apparently, I can't do this. Worth pointing out everything I've done there, right? Ba 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 ba. You definitely saw trial and error in in Guitar Pro. I wasn't just putting the note down and then instantly jumping to pitch, right? There was trial and error, but I could trial and error it because ba ba ba. I had internalized what it was that I needed to do. If you had the luck to get free subs like that, don't get me wrong, I deserve subs, but what? I don't understand what that means. That's exactly what it is. Like Rick just said, you clearly are very passionate and you care about the stuff that you make, and you don't have the subscribers that you deserve. And he offered to help, and I appreciate that. So didn't get me a ton of free subs, but. Bubble bubble ba. Fucking hell. Bo ba ba bo. I should just quit. Now, we want to be on time with this. This is slightly out of time. When I'm transcribing these lines, are you seeing the neck and patterns in your head? Not specifically for Frank, and I think that's why I'm making so many mistakes, because the line is so angular. It's outside of what I would traditionally play on the guitar. If this was a Josh Smith transcription, or one of the guys that Danny Gatton, or one of these blues guys that I idolize, I love Frank, but guys that I'm not going to say I play like Josh Smith, but big influences on how I phrase on the instrument, I would be visualizing how I would play these things myself, because I have that understanding. And it really comes back to what I talked about earlier when someone was asking me about notating rhythms. Was that Dickon that asked that? When it comes to doing notating rhythms, it's exactly the same thing here. You have to have an idea of how something would look like written down in order to write it down easily. It's much easier for me to transcribe blues and jazz stuff because I play blues and jazz, whereas this particular stuff is only a little bit, it's a little bit outside my wheelhouse of comprehension in terms of what I'd normally do. If you watch me transcribe an Alan Holdsworth, Jesus Christ, it's slow. It is a slow process because it's so far removed from my style, if you like. Josh is probably my favourite, man. He's just outrageous. His sweep picking is very odd, and that's exactly the point. Rhythmically, this is bugging me, because you kind of want to go, I want it to just be in time for the sake of it, so... Ba-ba. Does he go there? Da-ba. Let's try tone. I can hear that. I'm laughing. You see how I went through that much faster? Because I can comprehend how I'd play that. I can comprehend all of this stuff. Sorry. Does he go down there? Yeah. And then he repeats. So, let me answer these questions. John Schofield feels like that to you. I'm glad it's helpful, Dickon. Though if you want to leave, this video will stay up. When did I start my transcribing? How did it become my job? I started transcribing when I was, I think, 15, and I'm 31 now. So I've been transcribing for 16 years. And a lot of guitar players transcribe. They listen to things and try and work them out. But very early on, within the first year, I was, sitting down, and part of my practice routine was transcribing. I would listen to music and I would write it down. whatever I was listening to at the time. And, it was slow. It was very slow. I'm much faster now. This is such an embarrassing example if this is your first stream watching me, because I'm going so slow because this is so outside my wheelhouse. If you watch me transcribe, like, I don't know, a Martin Miller solo or Andy James or who did I do last? Brooks Robertson. I was doing Brooks Robertson last month, and, that was... I was working fast through that. And that's like chords and, fingers, advanced fingerstyle stuff, harmonics, like that's all fine because it's stuff I comprehend. This I'm very slow with. Anyway, so I began doing it as part of my practice routine, and I was doing it every single day. Now, it started out as just, an hour as part of my practice routine. An hour of transcribing, right? Could you do that now? Could you sit and transcribe for an hour? I've been transcribing this right now in front of you for at least an hour. And this obviously is what I do for a job, so I'd be prepared to sit here for another 6 hours working on this. It was something I did for an hour every day, right? And as the years went by, I started to enjoy it more, because it's like solving a puzzle. It's like breaking the code, in understanding someone's playing on a level that you don't usually get to understand. So I really enjoyed that, and an hour turned into two turned into three. And I remember, especially when Erotic Cakes came out, Erotic Cakes, I was going to say Erotic Nightmares, that's Steve Vai song. When Erotic Cakes came out, over the Christmas holiday that came out, I was sat at my parents' house. I went back to visit them. I was living in London at the time. Went back to visit them, and even Christmas Day, I sat there for 5 hours transcribing, right? And I did it because I loved it. And that's the key thing. You have to love it. The more you do it, the better you'll get at it, the faster you'll get at it, and the more sort of reward you get for the time that you spend on it. But you can't get that without putting the time in. Hunter, why is Tom Hess so sexy? Bald, mate. Bald. Women love a bald man. Right, upside down. Well then. Right, now I've done that, we're just going to put in the picking notation. Now, of course, I can do that relatively quickly. I can put these are all downstrokes because I know they're all downstrokes. These will all be upstrokes. These will all be downstrokes. These will all be upstrokes. Now here, we're going to go down, 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 down. Then he would continue with his alternate. Whoops, that should be... Oh, okay. This does something interesting, so we're going to need to see what he does. This doesn't fit in with Frank's usual approach. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Not what Frank would usually do there. What Frank would usually do is try and arrange his picking so this would be played with an upstroke. But that's the point. I checked the video now, right? So this... yeah, so this would be a down... Oh, he doesn't do that. He alternates there. Okay. Up, down, up, down. Up, down, up. Oh, fuck's sake. Up, down, down. Oh, that's annoying. Is the sync out a little bit? That makes this harder. No, that's right, yeah. Sorry, it's from a guitar lesson earlier for someone. So you play this with a down. That looked like you started with an up there. Up, down, up, up, up. Up, down, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Up, down, and then this is all going to be up. This last note, he may play this with a down. That would help with going for the next stroke, right? Oh, okay. That also is an option. Yep. Okay, so that's odd. Okay, there is a double downstroke there, so that's obviously quite tricky, but it's what he does. Then we're going to alternate up, down, up, down, up, up. And then I suspect this is going to be the same picking directions as... Oh, okay. So alternate picking. Not what you expect of Frank. All alternate pick, that's interesting. That's the point of something like this, right? So previous line, the middle went in the wrong on middle bar. I need previous line middle. I'm not sure what you're specifying there. Here's some drama for you. Upside down. Am I a beta tester for GP2? I was, yeah. They sent me all of the software. What I believed to be a long time before it came out, and I donated my time to them for free. For free. You know, I was providing a service, but for free. Why? Because I wanted the software to be as good as it possibly could be when it launched, because I needed to use it professionally. I wrote them an essay with feedback, things that they needed fixing, things that needed tweaking, adjusting. Emailed it over to them, and they emailed me back and said, "Cool, thanks very much, thanks for the feedback." And then 2 days later, I got an email saying Guitar Pro 7 is live. I was fucking furious, absolutely fucking furious, right? Not that they ignored me, but that they wasted my time, right? You knew you were launching in 2 days. Why are you reaching out to me now? You know that you're not going to implement any of this stuff. Fuck you guys. He's not hybrid picking any of those notes, no. I don't think I've ever known Frank to ever do any hybrid picking. Anyway, so with that, we've got our picking directions. Let's get this tempo in, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll go 150. Right, see what you're saying there, Trudeau. Picking on sweep run, three lines up from bottom. Still not sure what you're saying to me. Cool, fine with that. That's the interesting thing, right? When looking at something like this, it's actually the main reason I don't like to put picking directions into things. I hate having to do it. The only times I ever do it is if it's for something like this, where it's a product about picking technique. Outside of that, I try to avoid it where possible because, as you point out there, I think the reason you're probably saying, you know, is he hybrid picking some of those notes, is because with your understanding of playing, like that's how you would execute that. If I was playing some of this, I probably would do that too. If you follow guys like Marshall Harrison, obviously, you know, the swibrid picking thing, he's really into that as a technique. You could probably, there are definitely bits in here where, you know, some swibrid technique would make this easier for your style, right? Video is helpful for stuff like this because it allows me to really make sure that I'm getting things exactly as Frank would play them, because anyone that would be purchasing these types of things are going to want, that's what they're going to want. Okay, right, thank you, Trudeau, I follow you now. Sorry, I was looking one line up. How did I not spot that? So my mouse is broken, I need to buy a new mouse. It keeps double clicking. Some of you may have noticed that. I've been doing things and it like double clicks them. I keep like clicking this and it will double click it and make it full screen. This is such a great question. Upside down. Would I transcribe a mistake if I obviously knew it was a mistake? This depends on who you're transcribing for and what the end goal is. So sometimes you'll be transcribing a job for a private client. Say you send me an email and say, "Hey Levi, there's this Greg Howe solo. I really enjoyed it. I'd really like to learn it. Can you transcribe it for me?" And I'm going to say, "Yeah, of course, not a problem." I can transcribe it exactly as he played it, or I can transcribe it, if there's a bum note, I can put in what he would be, going for. Both of those are options. Sometimes though, when you're transcribing for an artist, they will tell you, you'll finish the work and send it to them, and then they'll say, see that note in there, that's not correct. And you're like, well, actually, when I was younger, I used to be like, that's definitely correct, and I would send them, a clip of the audio slowed down so they can hear what they're playing. And they'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, cool, I played that note, but that wasn't what I meant to play. Now, if that's just one time in the recording, fair enough, right? But there have been guys in the past where I've done this for and they've wanted to change entire sections. I don't mean like putting different licks in because they misremember what they played. That stuff is really frustrating. I kind of have to say to them, cool, just don't put my name on it. Because I don't want people to think that this is how I originally submitted it. There are definitely jobs I've done in the past where I have both what was released and my original transcription file. So if anyone ever does say, hey, Levi Clay did these transcriptions and they're garbage, I'll be able to say, whoa, hang on a minute, here's the ones that I gave them. These are perfect. I tell you another frustrating one, actually. I've done transcriptions for like Andy James that end up being released on Jam Track Central. And transcribe things. I'm doing some Andy James actually at the moment. His new EP. When you transcribe the audio and then at a later point they do a video and the video is slightly different to the audio, but then like Jam Track Central release it with the audio and then the transcriptions, which are technically of a slightly different recording, and then people complain about the transcriptions. Oh, that's not how he plays it in the video. And it's like, well, how is this my fault, man? You got Jam Track Central on your back going, can you fix this? Can you fix this? I'm like, what do you mean? I did it right. Oh, some of the stories, mate, some of the stories. Is there anybody that really intimidates me for having to try transcribe due to difficulty? Yeah, absolutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. There are a bunch of guitar players that I would hate to have to transcribe. To be honest, Frank is definitely up there. He's someone that I wouldn't like to have to do a whole lot of because his playing is so him, Tosin Abassi, I wouldn't want to do any Tosin stuff. I wouldn't want, and the reason for that is not necessarily because what he's doing is impossible, but it's kind of like what you're seeing with this Frank thing, whereby the playing is so far removed from my understanding in terms of how someone is likely to play something that I can't comprehend it. So it takes me a long time to sort of process how something is going to be being played. Now, if all I had to do was provide notation, no tab, then that would be fine. But when you're providing tab, you're also committing to a fingering. You're committing to how something was played, not just what was played. And when it's a player style that you are completely unfamiliar with, completely alien to you, that's really hard. I think that's very hard. It's for that reason why I don't really take Alan Holdsworth anymore, because his stuff is so... In my entire professional transcribing career, there have only been... maybe 2 jobs in... I've been doing this for 10 years and getting paid for it now. Only been 2 jobs where halfway through the job I've sent the customer a full refund and sent them half of the transcription file and said, look, it's not that I can't do this, it's that you've paid me, let's say £150 or whatever, right? And it's taken me 20 hours and it's going to take me another 20 to do it. And it's not viable for me to do this because it's going to take me forever. What's going on with my emails? They look like they're blown up. Martin Caldwell has joined me on Patreon. Sorry. While I'm not engaging with Facebook, as of when this went up, I am... I need to check my messages. Okay, right. So, yeah, I'm fine with that. Let's take a look at something else. I'll tell you what I'm going to do, because I've been going for 2 hours. I'm going to just press play until I find something that I like. It's going to be Little Charmer, isn't it? Let's do Little Charmer. I fucking love this song. There's a great live video of him doing this on YouTube, like live on stage. This will be much easier. I love that question, Dennis. Do I ever have moments when you just can't hear exactly what was played, or it's not an issue? Yeah, so absolutely. And there have been a couple of times where somebody has asked me, you know, can you transcribe this? And I have said I wouldn't want to transcribe this, not because I don't want the work, but because in all honesty, I feel that there would, because of the mix, because of the way it's been mixed, I feel that there would be too much guesswork involved, and I don't want to send you a product, I don't want to send you a transcription that I'm not extremely confident is highly accurate. There's too much random noise going on here that would be very, very difficult for you to replicate. You know, and actually in that particular example, the client said, I'm actually okay with that. You know, as much guesswork is needed, because if you're struggling to hear it, it probably is, you know, noisy. I can't even begin to try and pronounce that. Let's ignore the K and just say Pixlat Polska. Let's do that. Hello, how's it going? And yeah, we're going to do Little Charmer now. So, yeah, obviously, now here's, I guess, is the important thing. It's less of an issue after years and years of transcribing. Like, my ears are a lot more in tune with things that I do. Now I hear with a much better level of detail, in the kind of the same way that when you think of like audio engineers, like producers, when they hear things, they hear music in such detail. They hear peaks in frequency ranges that they want to correct. You know, an experienced audio engineer could sit in this room and talk about like areas that need acoustic treatment because of build up of bass frequencies or whatever, and that's from being exposed to that world for a very long time. So because I've been exposed to this for a very long time, I hear in a lot of detail. Anyway, let's do this then. I've done some of those Danny Gatton ones. Fingers on Fire, I think, was one that was just like, I'll show you that actually for anyone unfamiliar. Danny Gatton, Fingers on Fire. All right, so this was one where I was like, Sean Julie, this was for Sean. He asked me about this one, and this was one that was like, oh, there's a lot of guesswork involved in this. First of all, how do you go about transcribing that? Someone retuning the string. And then That's just chaos, right? And having to transcribe that is very stressful. Let's have a look. Joined up on Patreon. Thank you so much. Yeah, can't wait to have you there. Upside down. Back in time solo. Hardest part was the sax solo. Bill Doggett. Yeah. Tuning play. Yeah. Pass. Yeah. It's not my. I mean, I'm a big Danny Gatton fan. I don't particularly like that type of playing that he does, but it's I get what he's going for. You know, it's that wild, like, lunatic thing. And fair enough. Anyway, Little Charmer. Let's do Little Charmer. And this will be very easy. In fact, I'm even going to open a new file for this one. Let's just go overdrive. So 1, 2. So we're going to slide in. Fuck's sake. Ba ba ba. Blah blah. Much faster. I don't tend to put vibrato in transcriptions because I think it just adds ink to the page. Ba ba ba. Oh, whoops. I think it was a C major. Oh, I bet I just played the wrong note. I like transcribing stuff like this. It's a lot easier because I can comprehend this. Is not doing that? Okay. Much easier. Now I can hopefully get some copy paste. So basically the same, he just puts a pre-bend on here. And I would do that by putting a grace note. Hopefully we've got some copy paste now. Okay, so almost changes the final note. Nice and easy. Oh, there's a punch in there. You can see there's a punch in there. He hits the 12th fret, but he actually audio is the 14th fret. That bends early and I like that. Thank you very much for hanging around. I really do appreciate it. We still got a bunch of people online, which is cool. Now this lick, da ba ba da ba 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 ba, that's all classic, you know, like blues rock stuff, right? But then it's what he goes into afterwards that is the twist. I'm gonna quantize that. Just the slightest bit of quantizing on that to help practicing it easier. That's a cool lick. I'm going to sort the picking directions out on it in a second as well, because it's important. If you wanted to learn this, you'd really need to make sure you get the right picking. But let's get the notes first. There's an extra note in there and I want to... So he would play... That'd be up, up, down. Okay. More. See, he's crammed a note in there, and I enjoy it, but it makes notating it a bastard. It's almost like for the sake of playing it. Yeah, that'll do. So let's get the picking notation on this. So he would play with a down here. And then definitely he's going to do that. That's how Frank would pick that. No question in my mind, that is how Frank would pick that. And that's the kind of thing that I would then... Because I do like that, it's a cool line. Where's my Ormsby? It's over there. Ormsby. So when I find something like that I really think is quite cool, I might spend a bit of time sort of taking a look at it. So I'll leave myself small on the screen. Getting that. I'm going into the other Frank. These are Frank patterns that I've been working on. That's a cool lick. Yeah, I like that. Dig that. Need to spend a lot of time working on that. This is a lovely Goliath. The one of a kind Levi Clay red Goliath. I don't really use the guitar when I'm transcribing. So it depends. Okay, so let's put this out there. Obviously, because I transcribe for, I don't know, 5+ hours a day, I don't like to have a guitar strapped to me because it's bad for your shoulders, bad for your posture. If I were transcribing this, not on a stream, I probably would have my guitar, not this particular thing, but the thing before with all of the sweeps, because it would be a lot faster to locate things with less trial and error. Ba 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 ba. Yep. Trying to anticipate things a little bit more. Hear the interval. Hear the distance between the. In 5 hours, depends what the job is. You'd like to think. Well, I'm doing Andy James stuff at the moment, so in 5 hours I'd expect to get 2 tracks done. I'm going to put that as a pre-bend. Like that. Did you play that there? Okay, so that's the first part, and then we're going to do the sweep picking part. But if we just listen to this, this should be able to get the tempo in. Do this. Markers compute tempo. So say 70 BPM. That's because I'm at 50% speed. I was looking at like 50. Is that right? 140. Oh, should be a bend on that, shouldn't there? Oh, actually doesn't go into that. This is a punch, and you can see the the change. Now I'm going to use my guitar for this. I'm going to quantize this just a little bit. Not perfectly in time, is it? It's almost like, even the best in the world are never as in time as Lucas Mann. He rushes. I'm going to keep that as 16ths. So we got. Okay, fine. It's hard for me to do this on the 7 string. I get confused. Do you go there? That's very cool. I like that. Seven string. chords having their 16th note rest, not on 8th. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, that's very cool. Picking's going to be interesting. Okay, he just does what you'd have to do. Let's play B flat. That's very cool. Okay, we want to put the picking in there, so this would be up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up. Now what would he do there? Would he double? Let's find out, see what he does. So he goes, yeah, up, down, and he double downstrokes here. And that'll be why there's that rhythmic inconsistency there. Now I'm actually going to put this as a shift slide because it's both he picks. We go, as you'd expect, up, down, 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 and then up. That's not really... Okay. So he doesn't play that there. Now we know he doesn't play this here because we can see that his finger never goes above the 15th fret, so that must be on the 12th fret. That is interesting. So how's he going to pick that? So this would be, you know, the struggle in a product like this. Ah, right. That's interesting. Okay, so he doesn't actually play that there. He plays that there. So that would be with a downstroke. Okay. So then that is also there. Yeah, that works. Now this is all obvious. Oh no, it's not, you fucker. Okay, yeah, alright, so starts that with an up. And then now I'm going to check the picking. Down, up, down there. So, you know, the video has really helped here. It's enabled me to get actual real accuracy in that part there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to listen to the next part and hopefully it just repeats. Now what I'll do here, I'll read along. Yeah, so fortunately he just plays the exact same. Where is Timothy? Where is this note? So he just plays that same thing twice, which is a relief. Now, I'm going to take my guitar off. My lovely Ormsby guitar. Thanks, Perry. Pez, as he's more affectionately known. On the descending part. There's a lot of descending parts, man. Get where? Tell me more. Oh, you mean the last note of the bar? I think this is okay. That's super cool. That is just, you know, that's Frank in a nutshell. Now, let's see if we can get this to line up. Let's play along with Frank. So we go... So I'm a little bit too fast. So let's go 1, 3, 8. Still a little bit too fast. Let's go 1, 3, 6. Still a little bit too fast. 1, 3, 5. Still too fast. Hatred. 1, 3, 3. Thought that was it there. I'm like a beat too fast. 1, 3, 2. Now I'm too slow. Hate it when you're just a little bit behind like that. It's the worst. So let's take it from the chorus. So we are a little bit slow. Because I'm a professional. So I'm told. Let's go from there again. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's too fast. That's too. It's between those two tempos. It's between 133 and 132. But yeah, there we go. How does he stand that still? Obvious fake guy. Speeding up, slowing down, skipping backwards and forwards all over the place. Yeah, the original Instagram of Michael. The original Instagram of Michael. Sorry, I have a friend, Mark Thompson, old school friend of mine, and I saw Thompson and assumed it was him, but it is indeed not. It is Michael Thompson. So, I think, although there are still 46 people watching, maybe I'll have another little look. I'm just going to save this file for my patrons because obviously, as a member of my Patreon page at the transcription challenge tier, you get to download all of this stuff. So if I go to Patreon, save this in Frank Gambale, little charmer. Cool. How have I made this? Well, I haven't made this a job. This, transcribing shit on YouTube absolutely isn't my job. This is what I do to show people what I do for a job. If you want to buy Frank Gambale's latest guitar course, you're probably going to see my transcriptions in it though. So, and I was well paid for that. So, no. Oh, that was hard, guys. I just pulled up my emails and there were 15 replies to YouTube comments, and I had to not look at them. There must be things out there in the world that you'd want to learn to play. And you can approach me and ask me if I would transcribe those for you, and I can do that. That is one way I make a living. Another way, of course, is just transcribing for Jam Track Central or Learning Guitar Now. John Tuggle's website, I do a lot of stuff for him. Or Texas Blues Alley, I've done a lot for Texas Blues Alley. My Twangy Guitar is another website I've done a lot of transcribing for. Andy James, I do all of Andy James stuff. I used to do all the Tom Quayle. He's not releasing as much product, but I've done a shit ton of obviously the Tom Quayle stuff over the years. Wow, who haven't I done work for? David Wallerman, I'm doing a lot of his stuff at the moment. Let's have a look. Who have I been doing recently? Ant Law, do a lot of stuff for Ant Law over the years. Dave Weiner, yeah, of course. Dave Weiner, I've done a fair amount for Dave. I worked for Lick Library for fucking 5 years, 6 years, maybe 7 years actually. There's lots of projects in here. I mentioned my Twangy guitar. I did the what's their fucking name? Tosca. Tosca. Rabia Massad's band. I do albums. You'll see albums that were done by me. DC Music School Online. It's another one I've done a fair few products for. I'm just looking through here for things that jump out. The American Guitar Academy. I did a bunch of stuff for those guys. They've got some cool stuff going on. Guitar Breakdown. I've done some stuff for those guys. So let's keep looking. And I appreciate the support of Upside Down and the hard work. I do appreciate it. A slightly different question. How do you go about transcribing older songs where the production can be pretty muddy and the guitar's quite buried? What would be really helpful there, Michael, would be give me an example. Obviously, I say obviously, maybe a lot of people that are watching right now aren't familiar with who I am and what I do. But I myself, as a player, am really into, I have... Ready for it? Let's do it like this. I myself, as a player, have done a lot of country guitar books and slide guitar books. I've got a new slide book coming out in January. I've got a hybrid picking book that I've started work on. So I forgot what the question was. I like the idea of plugging. Oh yeah, so what I'm into, so a lot of the stuff that I grew up listening to was metal and shred guys and 80s shred guys. But then as I've got even older, I found myself being drawn to little blues and jazz guys and old slide players and all of that type of thing. So I'm used to, exposing myself to those types of things. And I think it's very much a case of exposure, right? If you've spent a lot of time exposing yourself to a certain style of playing, then it doesn't matter how badly recorded that style is, you'll have a good idea of what's happening. I don't consider myself an expert in any way, shape or form on black metal. Black metal is not my area of expertise. I've got friends that are really into it, but it's not my cup of tea. So when I listen to Immortal, recordings of Immortal, I have less of an understanding of what's going on. Now, I really do like progressive metal, like the modern progressive metal, the gent thing, right? I really do dig that. And when I first heard stuff like that, I didn't really understand it, right? Now, okay, I transcribed the Last Monuments album for John and the guys. And doing that was a learning experience for me because it meant I got to understand the style. And now when I hear those guys play, it's not that I can hear the notes more clearly, right? Because I could always hear the notes clearly. It was an understanding of how those notes were being played. I now have a much, much better understanding of how these things are being executed. So when it comes to transcribing old, muddy recordings, if it's something that I'm familiar with in terms of style, like an old Allman Brothers recording, not a problem, right? Whereas if it was an old bootleg of like a 15-year-old Toes and a Bassy, probably not, Yeah. Okay, I see more comments. What we got here? I'm really into Western swing. I love Western swing. I love be some examples of that type of thing that I'm really into, but more modern guys like Hot Club of Cowtown are a great band. That's Whit Smith's band. I really like great example actually, old Jimmy Bryant recordings. Like if you listen to Jimmy Bryant, the recordings, like him playing with Speedy West, the recordings are never clean to hear. It's very hard to listen to, but you learn to work with it. I listened to a shit ton of Bebop, especially when I was at university, and when you listen to it, it's actually really funny. If you look at the history of the recordings during that period, there was actually sort of more like a union strike on recordings during that period, and it was right during those 3 or 4 years where bebop started to become a thing. So a lot of those early years of that development of original bebop wasn't actually recorded, and those recordings that we do have aren't the best quality recordings. So when you go listen to old original Charlie Parker recordings, it has that old vinyl recording sound where you've got the hiss and the crackle with everything. Nothing's recorded particularly well. And yeah, you have to expose yourself to that for a long time before you sort of learn to hear the detail of the music. And for anyone out there that's a metal fan, I grew up listening to metal, I'm used to people hearing the music that I love and saying, oh, it's just noise. I can't hear anything, it's just noise. And it's true, right? To a degree, there's truth to that. It is just noise. You have to learn how to interpret that noise. You have to learn how to pick the detail apart in those things. Or bass guitar is another great example, right? If I listen to a recording, I can sing the bass guitar part, right? And I'm sure most of you guys, probably all of you guys can too, right? But when I have my parents listen to a song and I say sing the bass line, they don't know what that means. They don't have that comprehension because they can't hear it in that level of detail. They can't sort of pick out that part of the recording. So I think that's kind of what you do. Yeah. process same when transcribing songs with lots of complex chords? Absolutely. Find it challenging compared to single note stuff. So one of my favourite guys to transcribe, in fact, one of the main reasons I became a transcriber, I mentioned him earlier, is Joe Pass. He's one of my favourite players of all time. I really like his approach to chord melody. I like his approach to solo guitar. I like the fact that he's not super polished. Like, I love Martin Taylor. Martin's I was going to say an acquaintance of mine, but we've grown to get to know each other a bit because I've worked with him on some projects, and I love Martin Taylor. He's one of the greatest of all time. But Martin is so clean. He's so perfect and precise about everything he does, and that's diametrically opposed to what Joe Pass was. Joe Pass was attitude. He was rough around the edges, and that I always love that. It's kind of like, to me, it's like punk rock but jazz. There was an academia to Joe's playing. He just did what he did. So I love transcribing his stuff, and it depends what you mean by complex chords. So, like, I don't consider Joe's stuff to be complex because it's swing orientated music. That's really what I'm, if I can't hear swing or blues in the jazz that I'm listening to, it's not my cup of tea. Like Kurt Rosenwinkel, not really my cup of tea. Ben Monder, not really my bag. Jonathan Kreisberg, to a degree, I kind of like his playing, but in small doses. The modern jazz guys that don't have any real blues in there, that doesn't grab me so much, because there's so much blues and country and bluegrass and gypsy jazz and all of these things that I consider part of my musical identity. I kind of need them to be there in what I'm listening to. So the modern harmony stuff isn't for me. So the idea of like any of that old Texas swing stuff, the Bob Wills like catalogue of recordings, there's just so many great I was going to say guitar parts, but it's not just guitar parts, it's just music parts in general, because it wasn't like Eldon Shamblin, of course, probably the most notable of Bob Wills' guitar players. And Eldon Shamblin, he was one of the first guys to have a Strat, first guys to be playing like a solid body electric guitar, and very cool, great playing. But up until that, like in Western swing especially, the guitar wasn't really the lead instrument. It had moments, and it became more lead, because of amplification and stuff like that. But generally speaking, in settings like that, you would expect, like the fiddle player to be taking more of the show type thing. So anyone that has that Western swing thing going on. I mentioned Jimmy Bryant earlier, and he's like the pinnacle of that for me. He's not quite Western swing, he's not quite country, he's not quite jazz. He's a lovely mishmash of all of that. Of course, on Bob Wills stuff, you get like Jimmy Weibel is on Jimmy Weibel, yeah, on some of that stuff. Right, let me keep going. Bebop's guitar tone makes things interesting as well. Well, there's the thing. So we're talking about history of music. There wasn't a whole lot of guitar in that early bebop stuff because it wasn't a lead instrument at the time. Of course, Charlie Christian was taking solos during that swing thing, and that was a lot of imitation of horn lines. But if you look at like the evolution of guitar, pedal steel is my favourite instrument, Brute. So Bruit Sooth. Currently, my two monitors are resting on top of a case, and inside that case is my pedal steel guitar. It's best left in the case because I suck at it, but I do own one. It's literally my favourite instrument. Sorry, I was saying bebop, yeah. So yeah, you don't hear a whole lot of guitar. Those original bebop guys, you would expect the rhythm section to be piano based. So yeah, but though of course the amount of guitarists that bebop in general influenced, and you go on to listen to, I mean, how can we ignore guys like Pat Martino, which is not bebop, of course, it's like hard bop or post bop. But yeah, there's so much of that authentic bebop vocabulary to what he does, and that's what I dig. I'm really into that. So True Fire merges with Jam Play. Is that true? No way. Let's have a look. No mention of that on Jam Play. No mention of that on TrueFire. What are you talking about? No, I can't see any mention of that. More comments. Joe Pass, yeah. Johnny Smith, sure. How long does it take to transcribe a whole Monuments album? That one wasn't too bad because the guys provided me with stems for all of the parts, and obviously I had them on hand so I could transcribe, how I felt everything was done and played, and then I could sit down on Skype with John and Ollie and check over some of the chord voicings and make sure that everything was exact. Because that's the weird thing that's why I really wanted that Monuments job actually, because their playing is so. The chord voicings that John uses are so not what I'm used to in terms of chord voicing, especially as he tunes to like that. It's like a B flat variant on Dadgad, if you like. Transcription of the saw variations on the Magic Flute. I mean, I'm your guy. Pedal Steel, Boogie Woogie, Bill Dogger. Why would I say? I wouldn't say I'm a big expert on the Boogie Woogie type thing. It's something I've listened to, but obviously Boogie Woogie is so led by piano, and I tend to avoid info. Gregor, TrueFire send emails to members. Any chance? Okay, so they'll continue to operate independently. I was going to say, could you send me that email to leviclay88@gmail.com? Because I'd love to check it out. John is incredible. Yeah, John is really, really incredible. Yeah, so I feel like I'm done with my transcribing for the night, guys. But I will stick around and chat and answer questions if anyone has anything they want to ask. And then I'm going to head off and see my wife. Have some dinner. She made me enchiladas, which is nice. Hey there, new sub. Love your content. Looking forward to future videos. Subja. We're doing a channel as well. Would love your support and sub. Keep up the great work. What is it that you do, Defiance Illusion? Guys, go check them out. Should we see if Rick Beato's online still? Rick doesn't stream as long as I do, does he? He's not a lunatic. No, you only stream for 24 minutes. 24 minutes, amateur. I've been online for 2 hours and 48 minutes. Right. Oh, and Dennis has joined me on Patreon. Thank you very much, Dennis. I'll get you guys all in my group when I finish this and head on over to Facebook briefly. Do not engage, Levi. Take the weekend off. Oh, you know what I get to do tomorrow? I get to go out into my studio and install my desk, and then I can start moving my PC and everything out over there, which is going to be so cool. I'm so close to being there. Still got more stuff I need. I need to get my acoustic treatment from GIK. Yeah. The other thing that I'm considering doing now tonight is sitting down and practicing that Frank Gambale thing, because it's so cool. So cool. Always absolutely loved that. Yeah, looking forward to getting to know you a little bit better in that group, in the Facebook group, dude. Right, is there anything else happening? Anything else that anybody wants to ask me before I leave? Whatever it is, ask the questions. Because I am here. And soon I will not be here. I mean, I've been streaming since 6 o'clock, haven't I? So I've been online for 3 hours. That's good. I'm okay with that. And for those of you that aren't supporting me on Patreon, that's, of course, fine. I do a monthly live stream on the last Friday of the month, every month. So I will be back online for the last Friday of the month next month, which will be the 27th. So I'll hopefully see some of you guys on the 27th. Looking forward to it. And in the meantime, as I say, I'm taking a break from social media for the weekend. Need to refresh. I'll read those comments in a second. But yeah, any requests, anything you want to know, thoughts, opinions, let me know, and I'll try and get back to you. John Brown, yeah, it reminds you of something that you can't put your finger on. It reminds you of time. It reminds you of groove, which is amazing. How do we get better at playing technical passages? I would say repetition and also the understanding of the technical passages themselves. And I think a great resource for that is the Troy Grady stuff. Again, I did a lot. I was going to say all of, but it's a lot of the transcriptions for Troy's website. I saw some live videos that he posted. Fine. Connor. Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. There was no need for that. Connor's one of my favorites. So I mentioned Connor earlier, not directly, but I talked about when someone asked the question about, you really seem like you want to engage with all of your people. I got to know Connor just purely through the content that I make, and he reached out and we chatted quite a lot, and that's how introverts get to know people, right? Connor's name was just a name that I would see, often on things, and you kind of get to know people online like that. And then he came over to Glasgow for a gig, and he was like, "Do you want to come?" And I was like, "Yeah, man, yeah, because it's good to meet up." And he was more than welcome to stay at my house. And then he came over from Ireland to visit for my 30th birthday. And I'm looking for him to hurry up and leave Australia and come back home to Scotland. Scotland, that's your home now. Frank has the best rhythmic feel of any economy picker. Something I find very difficult to achieve. That's such a great observation. Frank is rhythmically, he is very good, though of course it's interesting that in this, if you want to be pedantic, these 4/16 notes and you can't see, can you? These 4/16 notes are not rigidly in time there, because he plays this with a downstroke and then also plays this with a downstroke, so there's a slight delay in there. So his timing, of course, isn't flawless, but it's damn good. And that's the sign of someone that's, not a fake. His timing is, very good. But I feel that's one of the big problems of economy picking in general, right? Your timing always suffers. Alternate pickers have better time. Frank has done a damn good job of getting a close, but he's not quite like Mike Stern. Guthrie reminds you of Frank, but with better tone. Let's say different tone. No, that's fair. That is fair. I guess when you said that, initially, there's two ways you can look at a comment like that. You can either go, how dare he speak so ill of Frank? But actually, there are two ways to perceive that comment. One is he's saying that Frank doesn't have good tone, or the more positive spin on it would be to say that you're saying that Guthrie has very good tone. And Guthrie has amazing tone. So, he really does have some of the best tone. I've never thought of Frank as a tone guy. I would never go to Frank for any of his tonal stuff. Sorry for a noob question. Do you play in any band or have any solo recordings? That is a great question, Dennis. And you know what? Yes. Why don't we enjoy some of my music? Let's do that while I go and say hello to my wife. I usually have an ad break in these and we just play my music during them. So let's do that. I will put on one of my songs. If I can find it. I have an album that I released with my band Hellcat Molly called Out of the Ashes, and I also did an instrumental mix of that where I replaced all of the vocals with lead guitar, and that's called Into the Whiskey. That's just billed under Levi Clay. Shit, where's my stuff? Dropbox. You know what? I was going to do it like that, but I could just put it on YouTube, can't I? So if you look up the band Hellcat Molly, you'll see my stuff. there you go. So if you like rock with vocals, there's that. I could also do like if I put like shit. This is a track taken from the instrumental mix of the album. It features a guest solo from my very good friend Martin Miller. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. No more of my music there. Yeah, so the instrumental version of the album features guest solos from a bunch of my good friends. The killer track with Jack Gardner on there. Sam Bell knocked it out of the park. Jeremy Krull is a friend of mine who he did all the mixing and engineering for the album. He's awesome. Obviously Doug Cartwright, who I've played with for years, he's on the album. Mark Butt is on the album. Lyle Watt, he's on that record. Have I forgot anyone? Maybe one other person. Let me check. I think that's it. Jeremy Carroll, Doug Cartwright, Martin Miller, Lyle Watt, Cameron Allen, of course. Cameron Allen. The incredible Cameron Allen is also on there. So if you want some, cool shredding stuff, that would be where you'd go for that. If you don't want the cool shredding stuff and you just want songs, then you go for the actual album, which is Out of the Ashes, because there was an important time in my life. It was when I left. I left London. I was moving to Scotland, and I was going for a terrible breakup. So I wrote songs, and like everything, like the song "Leaving London," is about how much I love the city, but also how the city suffocates you. Fly away, like my closest family member that I've had in my life died during the writing of that album and moving country. So I wrote a song for her and put that on there. There's a song about depression on there. So yeah, it's all deeply personal stuff. So yeah, fortunate enough to see Martin and Tom Quayle live. Yeah, those guys are great. Martin is one of my closest friends in the world. I speak to Martin Miller every day. Yeah, my life would suck without Martin in it. And Tom certainly helped get a lot of my early professional work. He hooked me up with Lick Library. I owe Tom a lot. Tom's someone I consider a good friend of mine. He was a guest at my wedding. So yeah. Upside Down, yes, I have released tabs for that. That's all available on my Bandcamp. Links actually in the description to all of this stuff. You can check this all out on Bandcamp. So yeah, lots of shredding. I'm proud of my album. No fakery on there either. None whatsoever. Martin has a great voice. Yeah. Martin couldn't sing when I met him, and one day he just said, "Man, I'm going to start taking singing lessons." And I was like, "Okay." And he got pretty good. So you're not familiar with Martin's playing, but need to watch some more of his vids. A few bits you've heard, he sounds like he has Pat Martino meets. Dude, it makes me so happy that you've said that, because that is Martin right there. He has got so much Pat Martino and Pat Metheny in his playing. Like, Martin is an all-out jazz player that also happened to listen to a lot of Petrucci when he was growing up. So he just does such a Martino, yes, but probably Metheny more. I know he's a bigger Pat Metheny fan. He can do such a good Pat Metheny impression, and he's just such a versatile player. And as I say, I've known Martin for so long now, and he's one of my best friends. And to see him go from, driving around Germany with him in his car, listening to demos of his first album, to now, having a signature guitar with fucking Ibanez, there's nobody more deserving of it than Martin. He is the most talented and genuine person you'll ever meet. So yeah, and production does sound good, and that's because of Jeremy Krull. So thank you very much, Gary, for picking up the album. I don't know where you picked it up. I would like to think Bandcamp, because then I actually get the money for it. But if you got it on iTunes, yeah, maybe one day I'll see £5 of that. Right. I don't think there's any other questions, so I think I'm probably going to head off now. But thank you very much, guys, for a very enjoyable stream. This month has been amazing. That's in no part down to the outrageous couple of videos and being an asshole. I've not seen Return to Forever live. I can't say I have, unfortunately. No. Something else just popped into my head, though. I can't believe we're talking about all these outrageous players and influencers and transcribing stuff that's hard to transcribe. a great one for that is Wayne Krantz. Like, Wayne was a big influence on me when I actually play. I feel like I got a bunch of new people watching me today. You don't know actually how I play the damn guitar. You've just heard me do the rock thing, but I've not played like that in 5 years. That's not what I do anymore. Wayne Krantz, that rhythmically, that's me. I love that, and the blues and the country, and yeah. Carver Hayen, actually, another big influence. Yeah. Savison, Return to Forever. No, sorry. Right, I'm just going to do the usual. Bring up my... I haven't mentioned VPix all night, but obviously this stream was in part brought to you by VPix, so please do head over to VPix, check out some of their new picks. Vinny just sent me this, which is their newest Dimension. The Dimension Junior 3mm. It's this unbelievably cool 3mm version of the Dimension. I love this. I've used the medium pointed for 10 years now, and when Vinny sent me this, I was like, dude, this is the best pick you've ever made. I need more of these. That's my favourite pick now, so I absolutely love that. So, brought to you by VPix. Also brought to you by some of my lovely supporters over on Patreon. Upside Down is about to be added to that $10 credits roll, so thank you very much for joining us on that, buddy. Probably need to update this. I've not updated it in a while. Rick is online. I've seen Rick during this stream. Maybe some others, who knows. But yeah, there's definitely some people in that $50 thing that evidently my life's just been falling apart and I need to fucking get it together and update some stuff. And lastly, please do go check me out on Amazon. Search for Levi Clay, you'll find all of my books. Some of them might have been in the Black Friday sales, I didn't actually check. But the books are a huge part of how I feed my family. So if you want to see some of my work in its finest form, things that I'm really proud of, then please do check out those books. Because you will learn something from them. Even if it's just, wow, I was right, that guy is an asshole. Damn it, wrong screen. Wrong screen again. There we go. That's exactly how I feel about Martin, man. It's I've seen him work at it. And yeah, he's getting the attention he deserves, which is nice. So... Yeah, I probably would go and see them given the opportunity. I don't go see a whole lot of live music now. I just got a message tonight from Charlie Griffiths from Haken. He was a teacher of mine many, many years ago. And I didn't even know that he was in town playing. He's in town on the 9th of December. And he said, dude, do you want to come down and check out the show and see Devin Townsend as well? And I was like, fucking do I? Yeah. I wouldn't have even known that was happening because I'm just so insular at the moment. But yeah, right, guys, I'm going to log off now. I'm going to go and get some food. Much love to all of you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see some of you, hopefully all of you, this time next month. Enjoy your December. Enjoy the rest of your November. Have a great holiday season, and yeah, I'll see you during the month. Laters.